ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ Hukamnama Sahib today is on Ang 525 of Guru Granth Sahib Jio by Bhagat RAVI DAAS JEE in the GUJRI Rag ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਗੂਜਰੀ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਰਵਿਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਕੇ ਪਦੇ ਘਰ ਤੀਜਾ ਏਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ दूध तब बछरै थनहो बिटार्यो फूल भवर जल मीन बिगार्यो दूध तब बछरै थनहो बिटार्यो फूल भवर जल मीन बिगार्यो माई गोबिंद पूजा कहाँ लै चुरावा अवर न फूल अनूपन पावा रहाओ मैलागर बेरे है भुयंगा बिख अमृत बस है एक संगा धूप दीप नई बिद है बासा कैसे पूज कर हैं तेरी दासा तन मन अर्पो पूज चरावो गुर प्रसाद निरंजन पावो पूजा अर्चा आहे न तोरी कह रविदास कवन गत मोरी पूजा अर्चा आहे न तोरी कह रविदास कवन गत मोरी Satkarjog respected Bhagat Ravidas Ji speaking to us today. Bhagat Ravidas Ji speaks to us in Gujri Rag, Gujri Sri Ravidas Ji ke Pade. Pade meaning these verses. We can equate them loosely with verses. The word verse in English are written by Bhagat Ravidas Ji, and they are to be sung in the Kartija and the third house of beat and rhythm. And the Shabad begins with the Mangalacharan, the introductory supplication to God. Ik Oankar, there is one eternal Vaheguru who is the creator of all and who is found through the prasad, the grace of the Sat, the eternal Guru. Bhagat Ravidas Ji in the Shabad today is talking about external worship. Bhagat Ji begins the Shabad, Dood ta bachara thanho bitaryo. And if before we go to the first talk of the Shabbat, if we look at the Rahul line, that will help us understand the rest of the Shabbat with the grace of Bhagat Ji. Bhagat Ji says, Mai, O mother. And Mai can be used in the sense that we use it in Punjabi as Mai Bhai. Mai Bhai meaning brothers and sisters. O brothers and sisters, Mai, O my mother, Gobind Puja kahan lai charavo. How can I charavo, offer up the puja, the worship? Kahan lai, where can I get those things to worship Gobind? That Bind, that seed of the universe, Akal Purkh Vaheguru, who's created this whole universe. Where can I get those pure things with which to worship that Vaheguru? Mai here can be used in the sense of, O Guruji, O my mother, O Guru, bless me with this grace, bless me with this understanding. Mai in this sense can be used to be saying, O saintly beings of the congregation, please help me. Avarana Phool Anupana Pavo. And Gurmukh Pyare will come back to that second talk of the Rahal whilst we're looking through the rest of the Shabd. But this first talk of the Rahal, Mai, Gobind Puja Kahan lai charavo. There's this idea running throughout the Shabad. Where can I get those pure things, those pure objects with which to worship Akal Purkh Waheguru, the Lord God. Doodh da bachara thanho betareo. Doodh, if someone is sitting there, and it's almost as if there's this conversation between Bhagat Ji and this figure of Mai, of the mother. Bhagat Ji has this question, the answer comes back, offer milk. Bhagat Ji says, Doodh da bachara thanho betareo. The milk has been bitareo, has been contaminated, has been made jhootha. Jhoot and such are a concept within the Indian subcontinent, where if someone eats from a plate, that plate becomes contaminated by them, it becomes jhootha. And before they've eaten, it's called sucha. And Bhagat Ji says, Doodh da bachara thanho betareo. The bachara, the calf, has put its mouth to the teat of the cow. Thanho means the teat of the cow. And has betareo, has made it jhootha, has contaminated it. The milk is already contaminated by the calf. Phool pavar jal meen bigareo. If we say to Bhagat Ji, offer up flowers, Bhagat Ji says, Phool pavar jal meen bigareo. The pool, the flowers have been contaminated. Bigareo in this terms also meaning contaminated. The flower has been contaminated, has been made jhootha by the pavar, by the bee. When the bee sits upon it and takes its fragrance. Jal, if we say to Bhagat Ji, well, offer water, Bhagat Ji says, Jal meen bigareo. The fish that lives in the water, spends its whole life in the water, does everything in the water, eats and sleeps in the water, does all of its bodily functions in the water. Surely that fish has contaminated the water. So Bhagat Ji is going through all of these external things. And Gurmukh Pyareo, the blessed saintly soul Sant Gyani Gurbachan Singh Ji, whilst interpreting these lines, has said, Doodh da bachara thanho betareo, that Waheguru is within the calf as well. And within the calf, he has already tasted that milk. Waheguru is in the bumblebee as well that's sitting upon the flower. Waheguru is in the fish as well that live within the water. And he has already enjoyed the taste of all these things through each of those life forms, because God is pervading through all. Gurmukh, if we come back to this idea that everything has been contaminated, Bhagat Ravdas Ji says, Mai, O mother, O Guruji, O saintly beings, Gobind puja kaha la charawo. What can I charawo? What can I offer for the puja, for the worship of God? There's nothing left pure on this world. Avarna phool anupan pavo. I cannot find any other phool, any other flowers which are anupan, which are anupan meaning beautiful, wondrous. I can't find these beautiful flowers that are pure to offer to Waheguru. The Gurmukh Pyareo, whilst interpreting this line, Professor Sahib Singh says in his Sri Guru Granth Sahib Darpan, Avarna phool anup na pavo. I cannot find any flowers. Phool, avarna phool. Avar means any other flowers. I cannot find any flowers to offer up, and I cannot find anything pure to offer up. So anup na pavo, does this mean that I will not find anup? Anup means Waheguru, who is beyond praise, who is so beauteous, who is so wondrous, he is beyond praise. How can I find him? Is there no way I will find him? That's the way that Professor Sahib Singh Ji has interpreted this line. Rahao, pause and think about this. Main lagar bere hai poyanga. Main lagar, the sandalwood. If we say, well, you can worship with sandalwood paste. Bhagat Ji says, Main lagar bere hai poyanga. The sandalwood trees, the sandalwood plants are encircled by poyanga, by snakes. in the forests of India, snakes wrap themselves round the sandalwood plants. Bek amrit bas hai ek sanga. If we say find the mythical immortal nectar, which is talked about in Indian myths. The Gurmukh Pyaro, I want to make this very clear. Amrit in this line here is not talking about the Amrit of Naam, the immortal nectar of God's name. That's not what it's referring to, and it's not talking about the Amrit which the Panj Pyare give. That's not the Amrit it's talking about here. The Amrit here is the mythical Amrit. If we say, if you find that mythical immortal drink, why don't you worship the Lord with this? And Bhagavad Ji says, Bek Amrit Basahan Ekasanga. That according to the myths, when the demons and the demigods got together and churned the ocean, poison and this drink of immortality came out at the same time. And Bhagavad Ji says, coming out at the same time as poison, this drink of immortality has already been corrupted. Bek amrit basahan ek sanga. Toop deep nahi bedeh basa. Toop, incense. Deep, candles. Nahi bedeh. Nahi bedeh means sweet puddings to offer up. Basa. Basa means smells, perfumes. And Gurmukh Pyaro, another way of interpreting this line is Toop, incense, deep, candles and lights. Naibedha meaning the puddings. Basa, they all give off smells. And because of this smells, basa can also mean contaminated. It has been interpreted by Sampradayic scholars as meaning contaminated. Through their smell, by smelling the incense before I light it, I've already contaminated it. By smelling the smell which is given off by a lamp. In India, the lamps were lit with butter or with oil. By smelling that already, I've contaminated the lamp as well. I've contaminated the sweet puddings by smelling off the aroma which comes from them. They are all contaminated. Kaise pooj kar hai teri dasa? How can I engage in your pooj, in your worship? How can I, your slave, your dasa, engage in your worship, O Lord? Now Bhagavad Das Ji comes to explain their philosophy. Tan man arpo pooj charavo. Tan man. Tan meaning your body, man meaning your mind. Offer up your mind and body. Arpon, offer these up to Vaheguru. Pooj charavo. This is the way of offering up pooj, worship to God. And what does Guru Amar Das Ji say to us every day in our Nitnem? Guru Amar Das Ji says, Tan man tan sab sop gur ko hukam manne paiya. Tan man tan, give your mind, body and wealth to the Guru. But remember this, Bhagavad Das Ji says, Gur prasad niranjan pavo. The only way of finding niranjan, and Bhai Veer Singh Ji stresses this in his interpretation of this Shabad, is that Bhagavad Das Ji is saying, you may offer up your mind and body, but even if you offer up your mind and body with ego, they will not be accepted. Only if you offer them up in humility, knowing that they already belong to Vaheguru. Gur Prasad, then you will gain the Guru's grace. Gur Prasad Niranjan Pava. Only through the Guru's grace will you find that Niranjan, that Lord God who is beyond this illusion of the world. And that is what Bhai Veer Singh Ji stresses, that Bhagavad Das Ji is putting across in this Shabad. Gur Prasad Niranjan Pava. Only through the Guru's grace. Yes, offer up your mind, body and soul. But remember, it is only through the Guru's grace, the Gur Prasad, that you will be blessed. And how will you get the Gur Prasad? If you say to the Guru, Kabir mera mujh mein kich nahi, jo kich hai so tera, tera tujhko saupte kya lage mera. When you're giving your mind, body and soul Do not say, I am giving something to you. If you're giving up your body, God is the one who gave you this body. If you're giving up your mind, it is only because God has given you this mind, body and soul that you can offer it. So lose your ego and offer in humility. That is the point of an offering. Puja archa ahe na tori. Ahe, I do not know tori, your puja, your worship, archa, your how to worship you, how to adore you. Puja archa is talking about worship and adoration. Keh RAVI DAAS kavan gat mori. Keh RAVI DAAS, Bhakt RAVI DAAS ji says, kavan gat mori. How will I be saved? What is my gat? What will my condition be? Mori. And what these last two tokan by Bhakt RAVI DAAS ji are stressing is this. Puja archa ahe na tori. I have not got the capacity, I've not got the understanding, I've not got the intelligence, I've not got the understanding, I've not got the wisdom to worship you in any way. Oh great Guru, please bless me with the wisdom, please bless me with the understanding, please bless me with the humility that when I offer up this mind, body and soul to you, I'm not afflicted by the disease of ego. So Bhakt RAVI DAAS ji is saying to us in this Shabbat today, offer up your mind, body and soul to the Guru. Now after listening to the vichar of this Shabbat, to an interpretation of this Shabbat, that doesn't mean that we're going to stop offering flowers at the Gurudwara. It doesn't mean we're going to stop offering Ramalle to Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Do all of these things. But Bhakt RAVI DAAS ji is saying, Gur Prasad Niranjan Pavo. Tan man arpon pooj charavo. If you truly want to worship the Guru, then where you're giving Ramalle, where you're giving flowers, where you're giving milk for the Gurudwara, where you're giving whatever it is, where you're giving your daswand, tan man arpon, also give your mind and body to the Guru. How can you do this? By engaging in Simran, by doing Nitnem, by taking the Guru's Amrit, by following the Guru's Rahat. That is the way. And whilst following the Guru's Rahat, whilst doing Simran, whilst following the Guru's teachings, remember, Gur Prasad Niranjan Pavo. It is that Gur Prasad that we're looking for, and the only way that Gur Prasad is found is through humility and through following the Guru's path, keeping that humility in mind. Puja archa he na tori, Keh RAVI DAAS kavan gat mori. Vaheguru ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki Fateh.